Welcome to the HPC Night Show. I'm your host, Faisal Hassan. Our tonight's top stories include Somalia beats Kenya in an ICJ legal battle case over its maritime border. The United Nations Highest Court ruled Tuesday in favor of Somalia in a years-long dispute with Kenya about their maritime border, a decision that could worsen the fragile relationship between the neighboring countries. The top court ruled unanimously that there was no agreed maritime boundary between Somalia and Kenya. The new boundary line, which was decided by the ICJ, was the closest to that proposed by Somalia government.
1. Unanimously finds that there is no agreed maritime boundary between the Federal Republic of Somalia and the Republic of Kenya that follows the parallel of latitude described in paragraph 35 above. 2. Unanimously decides that the starting point of the single maritime boundary delimiting the respective maritime areas between the Federal Republic of Somalia and the Republic of Kenya is the intersection of the straight line extending from the final permanent boundary beacon, PB29, at right angles to the general direction of the coast with the low water line.
The area, measuring about 39,000 square miles, is believed to contain deposits of oil and gas and has been a source of tension between the two countries for years. President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo has addressed the nation and profoundly criticized Kenya. Somalia President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo has addressed the nation over the ICJ verdict after a 7 years long legal battle between Somalia and their neighboring country of Kenya. The president said that Kenya has used many political tactics to botch the case which Somalia presented to the ICJ on 2014.
mudanayaal iyo marweyn tan iyo markii la doortay waxaa nala soo gudboonaaday culaysyo siyaasadeed amni dhaqaale iyo diblomaasiyadeed oo hoggaanka Kenya ay ku doonayeen inay ka leexiyaan dadka iyo dawladda Soomaaliyeed dhabaha ay doorteen oo ahaa in kiiskan aan looga hadlin meel ka baxsan maxkamadda cadaaladda ee adduunka.
Merely 3 months after I had taken office, the Kenyan leadership started to directly intervene in our country's political process by mobilizing political groups in Kenya in order to create an atmosphere of chaos and political instability in Somalia that would ultimately lead to the withdrawal of case from the court. After the failure of those pressure tactics, the Kenyan government resorted to direct violations of our sovereignty. The Kenyan government spent enormous time and resources in a campaign to politically isolate us, painting a distorted picture of our nation to our neighboring countries, the continent as a whole, and to the international community. President Mohammed said that level of Kenya's intervention reached to conduct airstrikes on Somalia's soil, killing innocent civilians. The Kenyan government waged a military campaign violating our nation's sovereignty and the public interests of the Somali people. This military campaign included indiscriminate air and land strikes inside Somalia's borders. These strikes targeted the lives and the properties of Somali citizens, case in point being the death of innocent civilians, including helpless women and children in the town of Baladhawa, and the damages incurred upon telecommunication towers that belong to Somali telecom companies operating in Jubaland, Somalia. Former Somalia President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud has celebrated for Somalia's win on the ICJ case. Former Somalia President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud has welcomed the ICJ's judgment, labeling it as a victory for all. In a 2-minute long video posted on his Twitter page, the president thanked everyone who played a role on this case.
وحوي identity ama hawiyadeni ama aqoonsigeeni qaybo kamid ah oo aan dood naga galay oo aan ku guuleystay.
The sea was part of our identity that was put into an argument which we finally won. Somalis should not give anyone a credit to this victory because the time we presented the case to the ICJ, we were servants for this nation and it was a national responsibility, the president has said in the video. Uhuru Kenyatta, Kenya's president, has blamed ICJ and rejected the court's verdict on the maritime dispute with Somalia. Kenya President Uhuru Kenyatta has officially rejected the ICJ's verdict over the maritime border dispute they had with Somalia. In a televised speech, Uhuru said that Kenya will not recognize ICJ's ruling.
Today, the 12th of October 2021, the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, delivered its decision in the maritime delimitation in the Indian Ocean case, Somalia, Kenya. While Kenya is not surprised by the decision, it is profoundly concerned by the import of the decision and its implications for the Horn of Africa region and international law generally. At the very onset, Kenya wishes to indicate that it rejects in totality and does not recognize the findings in the decision. The decision embodies a perpetuation of the ICJ's jurisdictional overreach and raises a fundamental question on the respect of the sovereignty and consent of states to international judicial processes, and international tribunals have jurisdiction only to the extent of the consent by a state. Kenya, as an avid supporter of the rule of law, accepted the court's jurisdiction through a declaration in 1965 with an objectively clear outline of certain excluded matters. At the time, Kenya never imagined that the ICJ would violate the declaration to the extent of imposing its mandate over expressly excluded matters. It is an unfortunate development over the last decade, a trend that has emerged of some supposedly international organizations being deployed as political tools against certain countries. Sadly, this has infected the ICJ, leading it to impose jurisdiction on a dispute that it has neither jurisdiction nor competence. In addition, the court did not use or did not permit the use, let alone the exhaustion, of regional dispute resolution mechanisms, despite the existence of a robust African Union legal framework on border issues and dispute settlement. Even with these flaws, Kenya participated in the initial proceedings out of its traditional respect for the rule of law, if only to make its case that the court had neither jurisdiction nor competence over the dispute. However, the court decided, inexplicable decision, delivered on the 2nd of February 2017, that it would hear and determine the dispute despite the founded objections, and this decision was clearly erroneous. Faced by the above substantive and a persistent procedural unfairness from a biased bench and the denial of the right to a fair hearing, Kenya was forced to withdraw its participation in the public hearings on the 14th of March 2021. In fact, Kenya doubts that any state would have appeared at all in a case such as this. Further, based on the ICJ's improprieties and to avert the risk of another imposed jurisdiction, Kenya, on the 24th of September 2021, withdrew its recognition of the compulsory jurisdiction of the ICJ and will only reconsider this withdrawal when pragmatic reforms are instituted in the administration of international justice. Kenya therefore calls on the international community to create an enabling environment for the pursuit of a negotiated settlement. Kenya and Somalia are neighboring states with a common border and communities with shared social, cultural, and religious practices. This decision is, in the circumstances, a zero-sum game, which will only strain the relations between our two countries. It will also reverse the social, political, and economic gains and potentially aggravate the peace and security situation in the fragile Horn of Africa region. Kenya, like other independent countries, possesses a determined geographical territory. As a devoted member of the United Nations Security Council, as well as the African Union's Peace and Security Council, we call upon the rest of the family of nations to appreciate and respect our inherent right to protect by all available means our territory. Nonetheless, Kenya remains committed to a diplomatic solution to the current impasse. And in this regard, Kenya is a key proponent of respect for the principle of subsidiarity as a catalyst for the African solutions for African problems, will resolve this matter through institutions of the African Union, such as the African Union Border Program and its peace and security architecture, in addition to other bilateral arrangements. So, fellow Kenyans, as your president, I want to assure you of my commitment to solve this issue amicably and urge you all to remain calm as we continue to be fully seized of this matter. Thank you.
As Somalians, we don't know whether Kenya will vacate the sea it grabbed from Somalia, although the country can present another case to the UN if Kenya refuses to vacate those seas. Thank you for watching the program, and don't forget to like and subscribe HPC to get the upcoming developments on this special case. See you later.